Now I can say that I like and I love myself. I love myself. Could I have said that back then? I don't know. Welcome back to another episode of the Kairika Rashid Show. And I'm so glad you decided to come back for more. What's up? You know we had to double it. We had to come back for part 2 on confidence. Because the first one, part 1, we talked about appearance-wise confidence. We're talking about face card never declines. My God. Eat it. Sorry, not too much. So the first part, we talked about confidence, yes, in relation to appearance, from going from feeling like, what the fuck, you're ugly, to what the fuck, who's that girl? She's a baddie. You know what I'm saying? But now for part 2, we're gonna talk about confidence in relation to just being who you are and being confident in who you are as a person, holistically, not just looks. So, without further ado, let's continue. So what had happened was, I talked about in past episodes of me being shy, and while that is true to my nature, I feel like a lot of that shyness was just me, a shell, like just me having a shell because I didn't want to be noticed, while at the same time wanting to be noticed for being pretty. I was hiding myself, and I felt this a lot when I was young, but also in a crazy, I don't know, in the same sense, feeling like I was also releasing myself and like being myself. So I guess it was situationally based, to where like when I got around friends and my family who I was comfortable with, like I didn't mind just being super goofy because that's just how I was. I didn't mind dancing and like just having fun, cracking jokes, like just being who I feel like was like the essence of me at the time. Like, you know, when you're young, you still have the innocence and you just are just doing stuff. Like I had that, but then when it came to being like at school or like, you know, maybe wanting to answer a question in class, like stuff like that, I would just be more reserved. I would be more quiet, like sit back, watch, see what's really going on until I felt comfortable. So there was situations I felt comfortable, but there was a lot more situations where I didn't feel comfortable enough to just be myself. Like if I'm going back into the classroom, like example, it's like a lot of times I probably did know the answer, but I wouldn't answer it. I wouldn't raise my hand. I would just do my work in silence. But if I was with a teacher that I was comfortable with, maybe I would like answer. But then I got to a point, which it's probably my godmom's fault, where she knew that I was doing that and she would probably call on me to answer as well. Like when I was a child especially, and then like even all the way up into high school, I felt like I was always goofy. I was always so silly. Like that was just me. Like I don't know. That just was me. It was just how I was. And I think I was more free to be that. And I feel like I think I seen or felt a change mostly when I got to college. Like I think I completely changed to where I was not being myself anymore. Like when I was in college and I would like see old videos of me, like from myself or from what people sent me, I would look back and be like, damn, like I'm not even like that no more. Damn, I wish I still acted like that. I wish I could go back to the old me in a sense, in personality traits. I think when I moved and I went to college, and it's, yes, something I strived for and I, you know, needed to get there and wanted to be there, I don't think I was fully prepared for the adjustment of like a new environment and adapting myself to be there, but to be there as me. You know what I'm saying? Also in the first one, I said something of the sort of like, I had confident traits. And I think the confident traits really stemmed from me just being the normal, the goofy, outgoing at times person that I felt like I was, that I really didn't, that I wasn't able to tap into purposefully. Like, it's like, it just so happened to happen. Like, I wasn't fully aware of the source of those little pockets of confidence or appearing confident coming from the true identity of me, because at that point I don't think I realized my full identity. Now when I got to college, like around teammates, I don't know, in the beginning, like I would be dancing goofy, all that stuff, like as well, but it wasn't just like all the time. It wasn't, I wouldn't say I didn't give off a light or like, you know, wow, like I feel like I gave off that as well, but then I just felt like a lot of those things were stripped away due to, I don't know, so I feel like I got it all from the different various like activities and groups of people that I was in or with. And it would be like, oh, I'd be part of student government and I'd do this, or I'm part of theater, and I'm part of basketball, I'm part of volleyball and this. And then when I got to college, it was just basketball. And it wasn't like I was branching out to do BSU or be a part of this. Like all the branches or all the leaves had fallen off and then they didn't regrow. I just had that one area, you know what I'm saying, where it was just basketball. So a lot of different areas where I think I gained confidence and I gained identity weren't there anymore. And I feel like I didn't do a good job of like seeking them out or finding those outlets, but I always yearned for them to come back, but just didn't figure out how to make them come back. I think when I was in college, it was like so much nostalgia behind, like, I don't know, being a part of the dance team, being in dance class, and like I try to reach back for that. And you know, I found maybe a dance class and I went to it maybe 2 times, but then something in me I just stopped going. Or in high school I did poetry slams and I really thrived on that level and I felt good to express myself in that way. But then when I got to college, it was like I just didn't do it as consistently as I could have. Whereas I, like with the poetry slams, I found an outlet, I found something, I followed them, I tried to go, and then I eventually performed on them sometimes, but it was something like I just never stayed consistent or like branched into that community. Like it's like, oh, you know, the leaves are starting to come back in this area a little bit. Just kidding. We're just gonna go back on that straight path. And yeah, so I reached back, found a dance class, wouldn't go to there. Found an outlet to do poetry slam, being around people in that vibe. Okay, there's that. Or maybe in volleyball, like at one point I went to the volleyball players open gym, had a great time, felt like I could hang out with the volleyball players, didn't continue that either. So it's just like a bunch of stuff where I know this to be true. I know this to bring me joy. I know this to bring me confidence. I know this to be a part of who I am and my identity. And I still just didn't go pick it back up. I just neglected those sides, which I feel like maybe have diminished my confidence in who I was as a person, but also it's just like, it's like frustrating when you know those things to be true to who you are and you just can't figure out how to gain it back consistently. Another example is like drawing or painting. Like when I was younger, I used to go crazy like with the like drawing. Like I only know how to draw cartoons, so like Cartoon Network, we got like Teen Titans, Powerpuff Girls, like all that type of stuff. I used to draw like Superman, Batman, filled my whole room like full of like drawings that I did. Everything was taped on the wall. And then one day when I was younger, I just like ripped them all off the wall and never picked it back up till like later on in life. And when I got to college, I would like try to like do paint nights or, you know, buy artsy supplies, but never would just pick it up and just do it because I wanted to. And those are things that brought me joy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, part of me still doesn't know why I couldn't just like pick it up when I know like every time I did those things, they felt good. They felt a part of me. They brought me joy, but I just didn't maintain it and continue it. And maybe it's because like basketball was the main thing. It's the main goal. Like maybe because I felt like I just need to focus. Like I don't know, but those were a part of who I was or who I am. And they just like dropped off. And it's always like I was always looking for those things and looking back towards it. And I mentioned like I ripped all this stuff off the wall and it's something happened where my feelings got hurt, but I really don't know. And it's like it was probably one of those like key moments in my life where I felt like maybe I was like, you know, the innocence started to get tainted again, because that's when I was super young as well. And it's just like I don't really remember why that happened, but that like that was part of me from a young bull. Or like when we were young in elementary school, we like made these cards about write down what you want to be or what you want to do when you grow up as a job. And I had all these different things because I mean, in a sense, I have all these different talents and all these different areas, even back then in elementary school, that I loved. So I would say, oh, I want to dance. I want to be an athlete. I want to be a chef. I want to be a painter. I want to be an artist. I want to be a dancer. Like all these things that I wanted to do from a young age. And then it's almost like America's Next Top Model. Every time I got older to the next stage of life, like one of those things got eliminated. And I don't know why. Because the proof is in the pudding that if all this stuff started from when I was young and I was interested and invested in, and it brought me joy, and every time like I was getting older and I was doing those things and they continue to bring me joy, and then it's gone, and then I reach back for it and they continue to give me joy and they continue to be a part of who I am, and I still don't know why I don't got it. That could mess with the confidence, and I think it really did. And with college, I think I came in with a certain innocence that allowed me to be myself more. And then when I left, as I talked about on a previous episode, like when I left, I was a darker, more tainted version of myself due to all these unforeseen circumstances. And it just felt like I was getting more and more distant from my identity and who I was, and it stripped confidence away from me as well. I've always been goofy, I've always been silly, I've always been like a jokester, not a prankster, not that type. I don't like that, but like just cracking jokes, like laughter brings me so much joy. And towards the end of college, wasn't shit funny. And then like as you get older and as life gets more serious, and like, I don't know, like, where is the laughter? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is the laughter? And I think in the previous episode, like, I mentioned like laughter is my coping mechanism. It could be a coping mechanism for bad stuff, but I just love to laugh. You can find something funny in all situations. I feel like sometimes that's not so good, but it's like to even get down to the point where laughter is so embedded in me that laughter is stripped away. That's pretty crazy, if you ask me. That's just pretty crazy. I don't know. So now what? Everything's fucking funny now. You feel? Everything's funny. Because if you're not laughing, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're not laughing, people say crying, but it's good to do a little bit of that too. But If you're not laughing, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I think I don't realize how much laughter contributed to being me and being confident as well. It's just like something that happened throughout my life that brought me joy that I never realized how much I just truly loved to laugh. Like that is a part of me and my identity as well. Like if I'm not laughing, am I really confident? I don't know. Something has to be funny at all points. I'd also say that I'm still reaching for that little girl who had that, that note card that said, oh, she likes doing this, this, and this, and she could be this, this, and this. Like, like doing this podcast. Like public speaking wasn't something I found until later on, but like even going back to drawing or even my second page of me like showing my writing or showing my art and my drawings and my poetry and stuff, or like making TikTok dances, just like stuff like that, where I don't have a realm where I'm like, it's like embedded in my routine to like, oh, I have dance class today, I have drum class today, I have art class today. Like it's still reaching back and making pockets of time to continue to invest in that identity of who I am so that it can also aid in my confidence and help me exude more confidence as well. Like those things give me confidence in who I am, and without them, I'd be struggling without them. And it's always like, even if I'm a routine person, I'm in my bag and I'm working. If I'm working, and I ain't stopped to like write a poem or, like I ain't drew in a minute, like I haven't danced in a minute, like something's up, bruv. Something's up. Like, even like with writing nowadays, like I think back then so sometimes when I'm writing or have poetry in my head, in my brain, it's embedded. So a line comes across in my brain and it happens. And like sometimes I could be about to go to sleep. I could be on a plane. I could be just sitting there to where I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good idea, but I'll write it down later. Girl, you're not finna write it down later and you're gonna forget. So I would let those moments pass, or those like moments where I really wanted to do something, I would let those pass when in reality I need to tap in to you, girl. You got to tap into you. That's another way of like filling my cup or pouring into my cup. Like those things help fill my cup and I was neglecting them. Versus now, if I got a line in my head, I got a quick jot real quick. Just jot down the line. Just so you could have the line. You know what I'm saying? I don't be having full sonnets, soliloquies, monologues. Sometimes I do in my head. But like, if I have an idea or if I want to do something, like I try to save it, I try to write it down, try to make note of it to help aid in that. Because like I said, without it, being confident in who I am as a person is not going to be as strong. I would say having this platform to speak on the podcast is another area that's helped me as far as like public speaking. Like I think eventually I want to be on stages doing a live show speaking, to people about stuff. There's that. And then I'd also say the only thing that comes very easily, like being part of me, is laughing. One thing about me, I'm gonna laugh. If I go a day without laughing, that's strange. That's strange to me. So that's the only thing that really comes easy. Whereas all those other things, I have to really take the time to pour into those. Like, because I'm still playing basketball. Basketball is still like, in essence, I don't know, like the main thing. Or like even doing this podcast, like I have to put in the effort to like do this stuff. If I want to post a video, if I want to write the poetry, like all those things take effort even though they're a part of me. I feel like a lot of times it's so easy to neglect who we are and ourselves due to external things and just life in general, because it's always moving, and we forget about ourselves. But like, you can't forget about your dog, which is yourself. You can't forget about yourself, because if you forget about yourself, it's not going to equate to confidence. You got to really always remember to pour into yourself, because how else is you going to be confident? You can't be confident when the cup is empty. You thirsty. I'm thirsty. You thirsty for that love and that attention and like pouring into who you are and your identity. I'm thirsty. Then your cup empty, you're gonna be searching for that drink of confidence whole time. You got the tools for it, but you just been neglecting it. Tap in. So that's what I'm learning too. Like, girl, you got to tap in. I'm not good at it all the time, but I've been way better. But is it easy? No, because you got to tap into it. I would also say that like now, it's like a switch you have to make in deciding that this is you, take it or leave it. In regards to other people, but in regards to yourself. Like, Kai, this is you. This, all this is you. Are you gonna take it or are you gonna leave it? Are you gonna leave yourself out there on Front Street? Or are you gonna bring yourself along? Bring yourself along. With other people, it's the same thing. These things contribute to who I am and make me confident in who I am. Take it or leave it, man. Take it or leave it. Which one is you gonna do? It's up to you. It's up to you. But if I'm trying to bring that thing with me, I'm gonna have to dial it up, dial it in, tap in, make sure I'm doing the things I know to do to continue to be confident, to continue to grow in confidence, and continue to grow in myself. You know what I'm saying? And now I can say that I like and I love myself. I love myself. Could I have said that back then? I don't know. I don't think so. But like I could say that. Like I like and I love myself. You know how cold that is? You know how cold that is? We all want to be there. You know what I'm saying? But that comes from being intentional and continue to pour into myself. With that, there are moments of like weakness and feeling down about yourself and who you are and your confidence. But as long as you get back up and keep it moving, keep it rolling. Big wheels keep on turning, we keep on burning, rolling. Keep it rolling. Rolling on a river. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Keep the main thing, and the main thing is you. The main thing is you. You got to keep you in the forefront. Because if you don't, how you gonna be confident? How you gonna be confident in you if you ain't tapped into you? Tap in, man. Tap in. Now we at the final segment. Shout out to part 2 of confidence. You feel me? First question. Do you like / love yourself? Tell me why. Gas yourself up. Let me know why you fuck with yourself so heavy, as you should. Next question. What part of your younger self do you miss the most? Like, I told you I just keep trying to tap in and pull from younger me. I just feel like, we have a carefree essence when we're younger, energy about us. And I just feel like I'm always pulling from that energy. All those little things I used to do, I just always am trying to do them in some way, shape, or fashion right now. So what part of the younger you do you miss the most? And lastly, was there a time that you felt like the you or the little you got tainted or disrupted? And what moment was that from you? And how did it change you? How did that change you? And maybe it changed you for the better, maybe it changed you for the worse, maybe it just, when you went to a valley for a little bit, but then you got back up to the peak. You might still be in the valley. Praying for you if you is in the valley. But, you know what I'm saying? So let me know. And I'm so glad y'all came back for part 2 of confidence. Because, confidence ongoing thing. It seems like all these things are always ongoing. It's like it never stops. It never stops. So shout out to y'all for coming back to part 2 of confidence. Thanks for listening. And once again, this has been another episode of the Kyreka Rashid Show, and I'm so glad and blessed that you decided to come back for more. Get at me.